Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of Innocent Until Proven Guilty. This will be Part 14, Chapter 15, entitled Confrontations and Regrets. Ideally, Izuku would stay in his room all day, avoiding his classmates and the world, really. See, avoidance is something that not enough people take advantage of, if you ask him. While not a permanent solution, it is a tempting one, and something he's been known for in the past. Neglectful mom, avoid. Bullies, avoid. Nearly the entire class turning on him and believing he's a traitor, avoid. Well, that would be his preference. Unfortunately, Izuku's phone had gone off a few minutes after Shoto had left. A message from Principal Nedzu asking Izuku to come by his office this afternoon. Izuku imagines it is about the IQ test he had mentioned before. A part of Izuku feels a thrill at the idea. Not hiding his intelligence anymore. Perhaps not hiding at all anymore. Which brings him to his current dilemma. He won't be able to avoid his classmates today as he would like, since leaving the building, short of jumping from a window, would require him to exit passing through the common room. Outside of the rare instance in the middle of the night, there has never been a time where the common room was empty. He has to face it. He will see them today. Yesterday, he had been forced to drop his masks, and he has yet to put them back on since. He finds he doesn't want to, or more that he doesn't feel the need to. His classmates all know more than he ever would have voluntarily told them, and with that knowledge defeats the purpose of putting on a facade. Dare he say it? But Izuku could just be himself. What is there to lose now at this point? Nearly every friendship that had existed here had been lost this week. Izuku has been through worse, with a lot less people in his corner. If his classmates can't handle him as he is, then so be it. Nothing would change anyway. Resolving himself to taking this step sooner rather than later, Izuku quickly gets changed into his clothes for the day. He chooses a simple black t-shirt and leggings. Taking out his phone, he texts Shoto that he's planning to head downstairs to have some breakfast before going for a walk, in case Shoto wants to join him. Making his way to the front door to his apartment, he hesitates for just a moment, taking a deep breath to steady himself, and leaves. The common room is quiet when he arrives. It's almost eerie. The past week it had become quiet when he would enter, but not in the way it is now. Before, there had been a tenseness to the air. Now the air was full of melancholy. It didn't make the hair on his arm stand on end like the rest of the week, so small mercies, he supposed. Izuku makes his way further into the room and glances around, a bit shocked by what he sees. It seems like nearly the entire class is down here at this point, which would be odd on a normal day since typically about half of them like to sleep in on the weekends. His former friend group of Ida, Tsuyu, and Uraraka are on a couch in the room, and he quickly looks away when he spots them. Not quite ready for that confrontation yet. He hears the sound of quiet whispering and even some sniffling. It's like a funeral. Bakugo is in the kitchen cooking, and he realizes that somehow that is the safest space for him to be. Making his way over, he breathes a sigh of relief at the familiarity. The other knows he's there, unlike the rest of the class who have yet to notice him. The blonde doesn't look his way, just tenses slightly as he makes his way to the coffee pot to pour himself a cup. Again, it's quiet. No words exchanged, other than his former friend's shuffling of pans and utensils as he cooks. Izuku finds himself content enough to watch and remains where he is for the moment, wishing in part that it could stay like this, without the drama he knows is to come. But things don't tend to work out the way Izuku would like them to, and within a few minutes, he hears a soft gasp from the other side of the room. He knows what it means. He's been spotted. He could ignore it. No one has said anything yet. He could just avoid and sip his coffee, staying right here in the kitchen, and nothing would have to change yet. Izuku turns around, facing the rest of the room. All eyes are locked on him, and the emotions resonating from his classmates is palpable. He won't make eye contact. That would be too much right now. So he simply stands there, waiting for someone else to take the first step. Midoriya. A soft voice speaks up, breaking the silence. Turning to face who spoke, he sees Tokoyami walking towards him. It shocks him, as the other boy is not usually one who leads, and this is out of character for him. Izuku notices how his eyes are downcast as he crosses the room, head down like he's bowing, and Izuku isn't sure what to think about it yet. When the boy reaches the other side of the counter that Izuku is standing at, his gaze lifts and meets his own. Izuku says nothing, knowing his face reveals nothing as well, as he lets his eyes roam over the other calculatingly. He doesn't want to give them anything, not when they haven't earned it. "I am sorry," he begins, "for any and all contributions I made to the pain you have suffered this week." Tokoyami bows his head once again. While his words on the surface may appear simple, he can tell the other means it. Tokoyami had fallen in with the crowd this week, staying clear of Izuku and distrustful of him, but he didn't say anything cruel as others had, and Izuku saw he had mostly kept to the background throughout the whole thing. He says nothing in response to Tokoyami's apology, sensing the other is not finished. I was weak, and the darkness of doubt bested me," he continued lowly. "It is no excuse, but I merely wish to express my apology for any harm my actions have caused to you. It was undeserved toward one I had considered a friend." Izuku thinks that since Tokoyami is speaking so quietly, the only person who can hear what the boy is saying other than him is Bakugo, since he scoffs when Tokoyami finishes speaking. Tokoyami lifts his gaze once again to meet Izuku's eyes. It isn't okay, what Tokoyami did, what any of them did. Yet he understands why he did it. Tokoyami tends to follow, to not speak up as he is naturally quieter spoken. Izuku only hopes he learns from this. Dark shadow makes their way out from Tokoyami's cloak, shyly looking up at Izuku. There's a tug in his chest when seeing the quirk. As before all this, Izuku had found he was so close to the both of them. Without a word spoken, Izuku reaches out and places a hand on Dark Shadow's head, eyes locking once more with Tokoyami's. The other boy releases a breath and nods at him, taking a step back and turning to walk away. Izuku only wishes the rest of them would be that simple. Before anyone else can speak up, a plate of food is placed in front of Izuku. Baffled, he turns to Bakugo to see the other already facing away and starting on the dishes to clean up. He wants to say something, to address it. But the other part of him knows that Bakugo has never been one for words. They'll need to talk eventually, but with the class knowing more of their history, now isn't the best time. Izuku thinks that for Bakugo, this is his attempt at an apology. Something to think about more later. Turning back to the plate in front of him, Izuku starts to eat, blatantly ignoring the eyes still watching him and the compounding awkwardness from the rest of the room. He doesn't care, and he sure as hell isn't here to make them all feel better. They seem to want to let him eat since no one speaks the entire time he does. It's nice for a reprieve as he contemplates what to say. After finishing his food and placing his plate in the sink, he turns to the room once more. "Was it enough?" he asked them, voice sharp. His eyes spot several of them flinch at his words. Most, however, seem to be shocked he spoke at all. No one responds. None quite brave enough to yet, he imagined. "Did the interrogation the school did on me satisfy you all? Or am I still a suspect in your minds?" he questioned, eyes flitting to each of them in turn, and pausing the longest on Ida and Uraraka. "We were wrong. We know the truth now. We believe you," Kirishima said from his spot on the couch by Ashido, who had been hiding in the boy's shoulder most of the morning. Izuku scoffed, rolling his eyes. "Well, I'm so glad to have your trust now, Kirishima. That was all it took," he drawled sarcastically, crossing his arms. The looks of surprise on their faces were almost thrilling. The masks were gone for good now, and he didn't owe them pleasantries. "Midoriya," Yaoyorozu started. "We are terribly sorry for this week and for treating you so poorly when you were innocent the whole time. I can imagine how horrible that felt for you." That was the wrong thing to say. "You can imagine? Can you really?" he snapped back. "Tell me, what do you think it felt like then, coming back to campus this week to find that nearly my entire class suddenly despised me, feared me even? I walked back onto campus excited to be here, to be around you all again, my friends, only to then find out that so many of you turned your back like it was nothing." He was eyeing each of them, not letting them escape from his words. "When the principal broke the news, I tried to tell myself that it would be fine, that we'd have a chance to talk about it, and that everything would be okay." He chuckled sardonically, eyes flicking to the ceiling as he recalled that first day in class this week. "What a nice surprise I had walking into class that day, He paused, letting his words sink in as they all thought back to Monday as well. With a deep breath, he stepped out of the kitchen and slowly made his way closer to them, no longer cautious of their reactions and instead ready to speak his mind. His head tilted to the side as he watched them all, the tears collecting in their eyes, the shaking hands, the ones who couldn't dare to look at him. I mean, for a kid who grew up quirkless with no friends to his name starting out here at UA, for me to gain all of you as classmates and friends, people that I thought genuinely cared about me. That really was something special," he spoke, voice wistful enough to cause them pain. "Although I can't really say I was all that surprised when it all went away. A worthless, quirkless kid like me. Please, it was bound to happen sooner or later. Even if I did finally get a quirk." He was crafting this well, addressing the quirklessness the class now knew about. He knew ignoring it would only prompt questions, and that was the last thing he wanted. "That's not true. You're a good person, Midoriya. You deserve friends," Kaminari said, speaking up for the first time. It was almost admirable that he wanted to defend Izuku, but the hypocrisy of the act was too glaring. "Ah, but you didn't seem to think so yesterday, did you, Kaminari? So really, what changed? How can I be a good person last week, but then not, and now I am again?" Kaminari shrunk down in his seat, unable to answer his questions. His gaze shifted to Ashido. "To think, I must have been truly scary for some of you to feel the need to hurt me." At this, the girl finally raised her head from Kirishima's shoulder. Her eyes were bloodshot, and she had tear stains on her cheeks. A week ago, he would have been consoling her, but today he struggled to feel anything for her at all. Her gaze dropped to his arm, which was bare today, as he chose a t-shirt for this very reason. The scar was on full display, forcing her to see her own handiwork. She hadn't seen it yet, likely having assumed Recovery Girl had been able to heal the damage. The girl gasped as she saw it, and her eyes welled with tears once more. I'm so sorry. I never should have. She couldn't finish her sentence as she turned back to Kirishima, hiding from what she had done. No, you shouldn't have, Izuku whispered, voice cold. Izuku finally turned to the ones he had been steadily avoiding up until now, saving them for last. Ida and Uraraka had been the closest friends to him other than Shoto, the first friends he had made here at UA. Out of everyone, their actions shocked him most of all. They looked a wreck, exhaustion and bags under their eyes, faces similar to Ashido with tear stains. He met both of their eyes and watched with satisfaction as they tensed up, anticipating his words. Ida moved to speak first, and quite honestly, it was a shock he had been silent this long. Midoriya, I cannot apologize enough, he began, voice pleading, but Izuku raised a hand, cutting him off. No. Out of everyone here, I thought the two of you would have at the very least trusted in me. That there would have been the benefit of the doubt. That somewhere along the way you might have approached me or something. But instead, you made an assumption and let it erase everything else between us since the start of the year, he spat. It's all my fault, Uraraka confessed, suddenly. I was the one who went into your room and took the notebooks. I saw you writing in one a few days before, and the things you wrote, they scared me. He let her speak, curious himself where it all went wrong. When I saw what you wrote about me, she paused. How many ways there were for me to be killed, it was terrifying. I didn't understand why you would write those things, and it just didn't make any sense, so, you see, it's all my fault because I took the notebooks and shared them with the class, and no one would have believed this if it weren't for me. Her hands were clenched in her lap, head lowered as if awaiting judgment. Not one of you had the courage to even ask me, he spat lowly, glaring at them now as the anger he had felt this week could no longer stay buried. Since the entrance exam, I have done nothing but fight for each of us here. With the 0-pointer, Uraraka, I really thought you would have known my character by now. His gaze shifted to Asui, who had stayed quiet this whole time. And when the USJ happened, we fought for our lives together. How foolish of me to think that garnered trust. She shifted to speak, but he didn't give her the chance. His eyes flicked back to Ida. Then there was Hosu, Ida. Was that not enough for me to prove myself to you? Ida seemed to have been aware this was coming, but still looked ashamed. He turned to the whole class next. You all saw what happened at the training camp and at Kamino, but maybe that wasn't enough for you either. Silence followed his words. Kirishima, ever the brave one, broke the silence cautiously. Do you think you could ever forgive us? The whole room froze, eagerly waiting for a response. I am done with proving myself to you all, he responded. The truth is, Kirishima, I don't know if things can ever be like they were again. You all made the choice not to trust me, and now I'm the one whose trust has been broken. He paused, suddenly seeing Shoto in the doorway, unsure of how long he had been there. The boy's heterochromatic eyes were locked on him, soft and comforting, with a hint of pride in them as well. His presence gave him the strength he needed to say what he did next. You want my forgiveness? Earn it. All right, listeners, this concludes chapter 15 of Innocent Until Proven Guilty. The next chapter, I'm actually in the process of writing it now, so you can drop your comments below, your thoughts, your predictions, and I'm hoping to have that one completed and uploaded as soon as possible. I'd love to hear what you all are thinking, what you think is coming next. Of course, I know this was a long-awaited chapter for some of you when it comes to this confrontation between Izuku and the classmates. I know there's a lot of suspected traitor AUs out there, but for myself, I really wanted one where there wasn't this understanding fully from Izuku, a light amount of it in certain cases, like Tokoyami's, but I really wanted this level of Izuku holding boundaries and needing to have that trust be rebuilt with them, not writing them off fully, but saying that they have to earn the chance. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and your reactions. Please drop comments for me. It fuels me. It really gives me more inspiration, and I'll keep working on the next chapter for this one. So it's not abandoned in any way, but I'm hoping to have this next chapter done soon. Thank you all so much for listening.